Splatoon 3 has a lot of weapons, all of which offer different mechanics, gimmicks, and playstyles, and I want to talk about which ones I like using the most and the least. I'm going to go through my favorite and least favorite weapon in each class, while also ranking all 11 classes based off how much I generally enjoy them. Also, since there are so many shooters in the game, I'm separating them between short range, long range, and semi-auto. So, let's get started. Jeez, I'm going to say the word favorite a lot today. At number 13, my least favorite weapon class in the series is the brushes. It is cool how these weapons can run around the map really fast, but I find very little enjoyment in them. And there's really only one that I somewhat enjoy using, which is the Ink Brush Nouveau. The main weapon is a bit mechanically demanding, requiring the player to have good mashing ability, but unlike Squeezer, it doesn't require a whole lot of aim. Ink Brush Nouveau also has a pretty fun kit with Ink Mine and Ultra Stamp. I guess I also don't mind Octo Brush. I don't find the main weapon very satisfying, nor do I enjoy fighting it very much, but it does have Zipcaster, so it can be okay sometimes. As for my least favorite brush weapon, that goes to the Pain Brush Nouveau. This weapon has a lot of wind up, is very ink hungry, and is overall way too slow for me, and getting kills with it doesn't feel satisfying at all, and I definitely don't like playing against it. It also has a very boring kit, that being Point Sensor and Tenemizzles. Yeah, no thanks. Number 12, Rollers. This is another class where I simply don't find much fun in a lot of the weapons. The only one I do enjoy the most is Gold Dynamo Roller. This is really the only roller weapon I find satisfying to play. It is quite slow and ink hungry, but it has incredible area of effect that can be devastating up close. I also like the kit. Splat Bomb is always good, and while I never care that much for Super Chump, I think it has pretty good synergy with Dynamo. The chumps give it a bit of protection and shift damage that it can play off of, as well as serve as a quick ink tank refill, which is very nice for an ink hungry weapon like Dynamo. My least favorite roller is the Big Swig Roller. All this weapon really does is output a crazy amount of paint. Other than that, it's horrible at fighting, which is not good in a game where there's a lot of that. And the kit is also pretty bad. Splash Wall doesn't do much for swag, and while Ink Vac isn't horrible, there are other Ink Vac weapons that I would rather play. Number 11, Semi-Auto Shooters. These consist of the main weapons L3 Nozzle Nose, H3 Nozzle Nose, and Squeezer. Basically shooters with a twist. I don't really enjoy much of the weapons here, but I do quite like the L3 Nozzle Nose D. I enjoy L3 the most out of all the semi-autos, and the kit complements it very well. Burst Bomb is probably the best sub L3 can get since it's a 4-shot that shoots in bursts of 3, and Burst Bomb really helps with that. It also has Ultra Stamp. While one of the weaker specials balance-wise, it's one of the coolest designed specials in the series and very fun to use. My least favorite semi-auto would have to be the H3 Nozzle Nose. While landing a direct, or all 3 shots in one burst, is pretty satisfying, it still feels very sluggish. Point Sensor doesn't do much for it either, nor does Tacticooler, even if it's the best special in the game right now. If I'm going H3, I'd rather go with the kit with Wall and Bubble. Number 10, Stringers. These are basically chargers but with non-instant shot velocity, and they fire 3 pellets. They're all pretty weak and hard to use, but can still be decently fun. My favorite would have to be the Inkline Tri-Stringer. I think this weapon's ability to fire pellets that explode after landing on a surface is pretty cool. Landing directs with this weapon is probably one of the most satisfying things you can do with this game, especially if it's an arced shot. The kit could be better, but it's not too bad. Sprinkler can help with its slight lack of paint, and I think chumps pair well with the exploding pellets. As for my least favorite stringer, that goes to the Reflux 450 Deco. The weapon is shorter range, has pellets that do not explode, but has a quick charge time and even a charge hold, so it's what you pick if you want something more aggressive. But oh my god, what were they thinking with this kit? Both Wall and Reef Slider are horrible for this weapon. I enjoy Reef Slider, but it really feels like they just used the randomized feature on Yaga's kit maker with this weapon and just called it a day. Number 9, Brellas. I do think the concept of these weapons is pretty cool. They're shotguns with a shield that can be launched. Using the Brellas has never really been my cup of tea, and they struggle quite a lot in this game, but they can still be fun sometimes. My favorite of them would have to be the Sorella Brella. Of all the Brella types, I'd say I enjoy the normal one the most. It has good fire rate, flares in and out of shield really fast, and has good mobility. Though it is pretty ink hungry and its damage could be better. The kit is also pretty great. Auto Bomb is a solid sub, and Inkjet is pretty nice for this weapon and is one of my all-time favorite specials. My least favorite Brella by far is the Undercover Brella. I do like how it can shoot while having its shield out, but its damage and shield HP are pathetic. And the kit is also terrible. Ink Mine and Reach Slider do next to nothing for this weapon. And yeah, most of the time I try to play this weapon, I just feel like I can't do anything. Number 8, Chargers. Pretty fun class, and every once in a while I'll pick one of them up if I'm in the mood for some sniping. And my favorite is, without a doubt, the new Swiffer. The main weapon has a very fast charge time that doesn't slow down while in the air, unlike other chargers, so it's the perfect charger for a more aggressive playstyle, and the special complements it amazingly. The Zipcaster paired with Swiffer's properties makes this the ultimate trick-shotting weapon. Not to mention, it's my favorite special in the series, so I knew I was going to like this weapon when the kit was revealed. It's also got Auto Bomb, which is nice too. My least favorite charger is the Bamboozler. I personally have never really enjoyed this weapon, as I simply find it the least satisfying to use out of all the chargers. And that's really all I have to say about it. Number 7, Sloshers. Just another class I enjoy on occasion. And the one I like the most is the Slosher Deco. I've always enjoyed the main weapon. It's not my favorite, but it's a good weapon for what it is. And I really like the kit too. Angle shooter / line marker, whatever you want to call it. Maybe the worst sub right now, but you can't go wrong with tagging people with it, especially when it ricochets off another surface. And it's also got Zipcaster, again my number 1 favorite special, and I think works pretty good for the main weapon. My least favorite slosher would have to be the Blobber. The way this weapon functions is cool, but both its playstyle and kit are very boring. Blob has always been looked at as an AFK weapon, and yeah, I'm definitely not a big fan of that. Number 6, long range shooters, ranging from the Splattershot Nova to the Jet Squelcher. I like to pick these up when I simply want to play a shooter with a little more reach. My favorite is the Forged Splattershot Pro. I've always liked the main weapon, it's reliable and has good accuracy. And the kit is great. Both Suction and Booyah Bomb work great for Pro, and I've always been a very strong sub and special. My least favorite is easily the Splattershot Nova. The weapon is just really weak, and the kit doesn't help it much either. I guess they wanted to go for a low kitting playstyle with this weapon, but it's just not a fun weapon for me. Number 5, Splatlings. I've always had fun charging these weapons up and unleashing a torrent of ink towards my opponents. I don't use them all the time, but when I do, it's a good time usually. My favorite would have to be the Nautilus 79. With its ability to store a charge and recharge while firing, it has the most amount of options out of all the Splatlings, and that ultimately seals the deal for me. Suction Bomb is pretty good for it too, and while Triple Splashdown isn't the best special it could get, it's still decently fun and one of the coolest looking specials in the series. My least favorite Splatling I'd say is the Zinc Mini Splatling. I also really like the main weapon, it's just the kit I'm a little indifferent towards. Mist and Bubble do work well for this weapon, but I just think the other Splatlings have much more fun kits. But if I were told to play this weapon, I wouldn't mind at all. Number 4, Blasters. These weapons may seem like they take very little skill because of their area of effect, but they're actually one of the harder classes to pick up, and man are they fun and satisfying to play. My favorite currently is the Rapid Blaster Deco. While not my favorite main weapon in the class, it's pretty carried by the kit. Torpedo combos amazingly with Rapid, and same with Inkjet. Right now, Rapid Deco is my go-to Inkjet weapon until a weapon I like more gets the special. Come on Nintendo, third dually kit, please. As for my least favorite blaster, that easily goes to the Clash Blaster Neo. Not only is its kit of Curling Bomb and Super Chump boring, but I've also heavily disliked the main weapon, and I honestly think it's the worst designed main weapon in the series. Its huge blast radius and fast fire rate make getting kills with it feel completely brain dead, and is just highly annoying to play against. And guess what? It's still a bottom tier weapon, so I cannot imagine a world where Clash is good. So Nintendo, please do not touch this weapon. Number 3, short-range shooters, ranging from the Sploosh-O-Matic to the 52 gal. Most of these weapons are fantastic all-rounders, and I've always liked their simplicity. My favorite one is, well, the Splattershot. The main weapon is so simple, but that's why it's so great. And it's got a crazy good kit. Suction Bomb is obviously really good, and I actually really like Trizooka despite what everyone says about it. Yes, it does need more startup time, but other than that, I really like its design, and nabbing someone with it feels great. And my least favorite short-range shooter just so happens to be the one that everyone starts out with, the Splattershot Jr. This thing's playstyle always seems to be built around just painting plus spamming bombs and specials, and to me that's just snooze-inducing. Number 2, Dualies. Basically shooters, but you wield 2 of them and can do dodge rolls. The rolls alone make this class one of the most fun in the series. As for my favorite, it's the Splat Dualies, probably the most well-rounded in the class, and I like them the most for that reason. It's also got an awesome kit with Suction Bomb and Crab Tank. I'm a pretty big Crab Tank fan, and it's actually the special I wanted Duels to get going into Splatoon 3, and I'm shocked I actually called it.
Yes, I got Crab Tank, let's go.
Yeah, I know the kit does kind of slow down Duels' aggressive playstyle, but I don't think it's that big a deal, especially with Tacticooler being in the game. My least favorite dually is the Dapple dualies. I used to really like the main weapon in Splatoon 2, but I've really fallen out of its tiny range and roll distance. Approaching with this weapon just feels so hard, and I'm also not a big fan of it having beacon and cooler. It's just a really weird kit for it. I'd personally rather play the Nouveau kit. Even though Reef Slider is the worst special right now, I think it synergizes better on Dapple than Tacticooler. And finally, number 1, my favorite weapon class in the series is the Splatanas. These weapons are amazing. They have the most amount of options out of any main weapon in the series, and some of the most fun I've ever had in this game. This class also has my number 1 favorite weapon in the series, which is of course the Splatana Stamper. This thing's an absolute powerhouse with its insane damage, combos, and up close one-shot with the Charge Slash. And the kit enhances them even more. Burst Bomb combos ridiculously well with Stamper, and Zipcaster's also surprisingly good on the weapon too. I really don't think it's hard to see why I love this weapon so much. It's literally just my favorite weapon with the perfect sub, and my favorite special. Of the 4 Splatanas, the only one I really don't like is the Splatana Wiper Deco. I enjoy the main weapon a lot, it's just I don't like the kit. Beacon is a decent sub, but Wiper definitely struggles a lot more without a damaging sub to combo off of. And it also has 10 missiles. Yeah, boring special. If I want to play Wiper, I'll just play the vanilla kit. The sub is way better for the main weapon, and the special is 100 times more fun, so yeah. Anyway, that's my ranking for all the weapon classes in Splatoon, as well as my favorite and least favorite from each. Let me know in the comments what your favorite weapon/weapon class is. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace!